What's going on, everyone? Vampyr Gaming here, back again to tell you how to win your anniversary event. And if you're new to the channel, I'm Vampyr Gaming. I make competitive One Piece content and also just evergreen content for the daily One Piece player. So if you're looking to be competitive, if you're looking to just kind of stay up to date and goof around, have a good time, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Over 80% of my viewers are not currently subscribed, and it will help me out a ton. And so in today's video, we're going to talk about the release event, everything you need to know. They're already available in the Bandai app. If you haven't already, make sure you apply. But we're going to talk about the event. We're going to talk about the cards in the set, which cards you should play, and we're going to kind of break down the important facts you need to know about these events, and kind of like we'll talk about how to win them, right? So first up, of course, it's the anniversary event, which is really just a pre-release with fancier cards, okay? And so they actually have some incredible bangers here for this event, so you definitely want to attend these if you can. They run October 31st through November 20th, and it can be in constructed or sealed. Most opt to go sealed. It is the most popular version of this format, but unfortunately some places will play constructed. We are going to talk about sealed exclusively in this video, and we're going to predominantly talk about the Luffy that they give out. A lot of local game stores have pivoted to the Luffy, and for these specifically, you're supposed to do the Luffy, but for the past couple, you're supposed to do the Luffy as well because they've been giving them out, but they get to choose constructed or sealed, and the kits are kind of set up for that. Now, TBD if you're able to play these in sealed, in other sealeds, the promos you get, you've been able to play, and if so, this is the strongest. But these are, of course, special participation promos, and they have winner variants. So you get one of these at random that you could potentially add into your deck. A Rusher, of course, being the strongest card, in my opinion, that you can use if they allow you to use the promos for play as well. Again, many events in the past have allowed them to be part of your draft. So this is the strongest one. But what's cool about these is they feature art from other mangakas. So this is from Black Clover's artist. Ace is from Food Wars. And somebody comment below what Sabo's is. I can't recall off the top of my head because these are the only two that I really care about. But it's a really popular one that I just can't think of. And the art style really isn't just putting it in the top of my brain. But it is Demizu? Demizu, maybe? But yeah, so this is bar none the strongest card that you could potentially pull. This, of course, being an extra blocker, can be great for your pull plus cycle. And then there is this, which also allows you to draw cards. So they're all fairly strong in their own right, but having Rush and then also having Unblockable can be a game definer. And then, of course, so the Luffy that we're going to talk about and all the things in this video are catered towards this, which is a 5-life omni-color, all colors for Luffy. This leader can only be used in designated events according to the rules. This leader is treated as a card with all card names, all card types, and attributes according to the rules. So if it exists, this card counts as it. He is your Mouscatool of leaders. So he counts for everything, which really hones in and creates an opportunity for skill 1 and obviously reading capability, because you need to see because there's some really strong effects that are locked to leaders, but they are not locked to him, or they're locked to types, but they're not locked to him, and you might overlook it because in the formats where we've done previously, where you pick your leader, we go Eustace, Captain Kidd, we go Sanji, we go Yamato, those matter. And we just kind of throw them off to the side. So you might have that like habit. And you might, if you're not using this leader, you can use Sanji. Sanji's going to be the best one. There's plenty of 5-6 vanillas, but just having auto rushers is just the strongest ability by far. So if you can't play this, play Sanji, draft vanillas. You will win. You're welcome. You still, of course, have to know how to play aggressively, but this format is fundamental One Piece, and since they've like changed leader, like you could play fundamental One Piece with different leaders, but there was like a high roll factor. There still is, but I feel like this leader really allows so many more skills to shine. But yeah, he counts as everything, and he does nothing. He's just a 5/5. And then, of course, you also get these packs. These packs are draftable. They come stamped 3rd anniversary cards. But so when you win, you get foil. And these have a gold foil on them. So I don't believe it's technically textured, but it does have gold foiling. So I believe they are different from their Japanese counterparts, which were available through order from Shonen Jump magazine. But you will get all 3 silver foil plus gold stamp. Yeah, so they aren't textured, but you can kind of see where the gold is going to be. And honestly, Chef's Kiss, incredible. I will be playing my heart out to win these. Sadly, I do have to work on one of these days, and so I will miss a pre-release, which I would very much have liked to attend just to try to win these cards. Because again, if we're playing with the Luffy leader, I'm incredibly confident. The only times I've really lost have been in very niche situations since they've made the transition. So I've won a lot of the winner cards when I've been able. I've missed a couple too, which was very unfortunate, just because of like traveling for events and whatnot. Thankfully, there isn't any overlap. The online is on Sunday, so a lot of these events are on Saturday, which is beautiful, perfect textbook. So let's go ahead, jump in. We're first going to take a look at the set. We're going to take a look at kind of all the cards. Then we'll break it down into like the counters, the 2Ks, and the cards you should know. But so just to kind of jump in here initially, the set has 13 blockers, 22 2Ks, and 10 counter events. So we're all very tanky. There's a lot of potential end game tank capabilities because again, 13 blockers, 22 2Ks. We don't 6K check. There are some where they have like 7 2Ks in the whole set. They haven't done that in a while since they've made the 6-7s, the 2Ks, the 6-7s that you can just kind of counter out with the vanillas, the 5-6s, the 6-7s, and then you have 10 counter events. So 10 events that go plus 3,000 to your leader minimum. We'll talk about those, so we're going to talk about just kind of all the cards, like the bodies you want to play, and then we'll kind of chop up into like the more important, like the blockers, just to kind of highlight those, because you'll draft those first, then you'll draft all the bodies second. But so first up, of course, kind of just going through the red cards. There aren't many great red cards, and a lot of them are really just bodies in 2Ks. Not a lot worth writing home about. Ace Sabo, this is actually an incredible card. Can be used for removal. You can play it, sack it off, give 1 Don. So it's effectively a minus 4K because you're going to give a Don to your leader and you're going to minus something by 3. So you have a 4K difference to remove a body.
Give me a moment of your time, if you would. I'm incredibly proud and incredibly excited to announce. So some of you may know I have a shop, Vamp TCG. Number one way you can support me outside of watching the videos. Everything so far has gone back towards partnerships, creators, whatever content for me to consume to provide you all with value. But I'm incredibly proud to announce that we now have a collab with the Guard Stylish, official Vampyr Gaming leader cases available on the site now. Along with all the other ones. The other colors, working on those, so stay tuned for that. But we've got this here, official, incredible. It's all thanks to you. If you guys can just go check it out. And also, I'll just kind of show you here as well, if you can keep a secret. Don't talk about this a lot, but if you were to pick up any of the Vamp TCG sleeves, it doesn't count for any official sleeve. But if you were to pick these up right now, you can get it, and you'll save $6 on your leader case. And on top of that, you also I still have a couple of these left. The Treasure Campaign packs, you'll get one of those for free. And if you're located within the U.S., you'll get this free, shipped free with the purchase of the sleeve. So it'll be $30 shipped. You get this, you get that, and you get that. Incredible deal. Go check it out, vamptcg.com. And let's get back to it.
Inazuma, this is literally just a body, but it's a 2K. So this is incredibly playable. You can play it down as a 4/5. You can keep it as a 2K, and you can also just give 1 rested down to your leader and swing. Cobra, he is just a 2K, but he's a body if you need to establish one. Lord of the Coasts, 6/8s are the best. You go second, you get an extra card. You go 6/8. If you have like a 4 curve, I think the going first curve is almost better just because the 5s, there's a lot of 5s. But if you go like this Uda into this, I think you're just so up. But then, of course, Dragon. Dragon is just a body here. There is a potential for some combos, but I doubt it. And you got Wapple. Wapple is just a 2K, hanging out with my gal, Vivi. But A said he deserved it. This is just the one of those counter events, but it is also potential removal. There are some chump blockers, but you could also use this to do a regular blocker, but the most ideal play is going to be minus 3,000 to arrested and KO something, because it does cost 5 Dawn to play, but you could play 5 Dawn, KO blocker, and swing at their face. Uda, this card is incredible. On play set of 2 of your Dawn cards is active. It's a 2 cost. So you play this on 4, you get to swing 7. So much aggression, establish a threat. On KO, you can play a card from your hand. Incredible. If they remove it that turn, they're de-incentivized. So it can play out bigger threats. This card is so good. And almost every super rare besides the 5 unks, you should be picking. Every super rare besides the 5 unks. Actually, any green card too. All the green cards are incredible. If it's green, it's mean. All the green cards are incredible. I mentioned more green cards here than anything else. Because we got Sanji. Sanji, incredible. On play set 2 of yours is active. Then end of turn, you're going to get 1 active. So we have all these events. So this sticking plus all these events, they're 1 cost events. This card goes to distance. Put as many. If you pull 2 of these, you play 2 of these, you probably just win. And he's a 5/7. This card is still pretty good because, again, you can establish a threat. We have a lot of events. You can establish a giant threat, and then you can leave Dawn up for counter, plus go incredibly aggressive. So you can leave a bunch of Dawn up, establish a threat, push, pressure, and then leave up for events. I think his card's still really good. Gordon, he's a 2K. Yeah. Sunny Kun, arrest 1 Dawn. I think he's playable. I don't love him, but I think he's playable because he makes himself a 4. So you play this out on 1. You can swing with him on 3 if you need to, and put a little bit of pressure on your opponent. You go 6/6. Again, we don't really want a 2K check, but in a 2K check format, that would go to distance. We have Kobe, one of these blockers. Again, at the end, we'll kind of hone in on these blockers and talk about them and just kind of so you know what to look for. But then on play, if your leader has film or strike, which your leader's both, you get 1 Dawn active. So you're going to get 1 of those Dawn. Again, we have a ton of counter events. This is probably one of the best cards, and it's an uncommon. Put as many of these as you can. Why? Because it time walks your opponent on a character. You play this, you stun one of their swings, so it buys you a turn. And if you chain 2 of these, you get a 7/7. There aren't too many very strong threats you can establish, but you get to pause your opponent from swinging. Potentially their 6/8. Like say they played their 6/8, and you play your combo, then they swing with it, then you get to play this. Boom, froze it. Incredible. Incredible. Take it out. This card's also very strong. Lots of 5/7s. It isn't specified for color, so all of them are going to work. And then at 1 life, he gains blocker. This card lets you go incredibly wide. It's almost like if you could hit a Rayleigh, like a Luffy Sanji, on 6. So if you're going second, you play this on 6. You play out like a Beppo. You play out a Kobe. You play out a Sanji. Ideal is going to be a 7K. Because then your opponent's just not going to be able to swing into it, or it's going to be so expensive. A 6K is a bit more manageable, but this is going to give you 2 big bodies that are going to allow you to pressure your opponent the next turn. This card is so strong. Chopper, you just get 2 Dawn back. Again, all these plays are so strong because we have so many counter events. Jinbei is just a 2K, but he is a 6/7. I did the thing with my hands, trust. This Frankie, on KO, rest 2 of your opponent's cards. So you can rest their Dawn. You can rest their leaders. You can rest anything. So this 3/5, really strong. You can make this rush with Sanji as well. So if you're playing Sanji, all these are rushers as long as they don't have an on play. Not these, of course, but like Sunny Kun. You could play Sunny Kun for 1, tap 1, swing 5. He's a 3/5 rusher effectively. This Brook, I also think, kind of underrated, because you get 1 Dawn back. So you can play him out, establish a threat to swing with, but then you can go like 6 at life. And he fits. And he's got counter. But Beppo, Big Beps, set this character up to 1 of your Dawn cards as active. Again, both of these cards, Sanji and Beppo, incredibly powerful, incredibly impactful, because again, we have 10 counter events. 10 counter events. So that Don can do so much for us. And then you can still play your curve. Helmet Bow 2K. This Zoro, pretty good because you're going to get the 2 Dawn back. And then at the end of your turn, you can set as active. So your opponent can never remove this. So this card is going to apply an insane amount of pressure and demand cards. He's going to demand cards. He's going to give you 2 Dawn back on the turn you play. We're going to swing 7. And then every turn after that, he's going to set himself as active and swing 5. Elephant Gun. This is a form of removal. Not really, but it's really a way to block theirs, but you can also like rest something to swing into it. It only costs 2, and you get 2 Dawn active at the end of the turn, so it leaves you some up. So you could rest their blocker, swing at their life, then it leaves you some up. And then, of course, trigger rest opponent, so this card can save you. I think this card is incredibly good. Otama 2K, and then you could use the effect. It is a +1 because you draw 2, trash 1. So, I mean, it really just replaces stuff. You play it, you draw 2, you trash 1, but so it gives you cycle on some 2K. Edward Newgate, on play, draw 2 cards and trash 1 from your hand. This card is so good because you can block any attack, and it also generates value. It replaces itself in sealed format. There's a couple things you want to look for. You want to look for a lot of counter. You want to be able to get out of attacks. You want blockers. You want value. You want value and you want destruction. You want cards that don't cost you anything to play. And what I mean by that is it doesn't cost you cards. So you get to play it for free because you didn't lose any cards in hand. The value in your hand is so strong in these sealed formats, and just using your resources, anything that gives you an edge on resources is going to give you a win. It's going to help you win. It's going to put you in a position to win. All of these small things you can do. Same thing here with this Izo. On play, draw 2 cards. This is an actual +1. This one replaced itself. This one is an actual +1, but it's worth it because you're getting value and it's still 6K. So you can play it. It is still a semi-threat, and you go up a card. So it gives you value. So I think this card is definitely worth putting in. But yeah, this Newgate, you draw it, you trash 1, and you give 4 rested Dawn. So you really cost 6. So it gives you a ton of aggression, and it's going to give you a blocker that they can just never out. Curiel, I was kind of on the edge about this, but it gives 1 rested Dawn to your leader or character, so he can give it to himself, so he swings 3/5, or you can give it to your leader and swing 6. So like, but he's a 3/5, also pretty good in Sanji because you can play him, swing him, give 1 to himself, and it's recurring, so it's going to eat an attack. Vista, double attack, so strong. Double attack is so strong. We have 13 blockers. It's roughly 13 because there's conditional blockers included in that number. But we got Vista, double attack, and then he can't be KO'd. Well, he can, but it's usually not worth it because you just get rid of a Whitebeard Pirates card, and we'll probably have some. Blamenko 2K, great vanilla. Bledheim 6/7, great Whitebeard Pirates 2K. Boa, again, really good for Sanji. Go 3/5, go 5/5. And then on KO, if your leader is Boa, Hancock, or multicolored, which our leader is both of those, we're going to get the draw 2 card. So again, it replaces itself and it presents a threat, which is incredibly impactful. Boa, this is a blocker, plus it can be comboed with this Boa, which can really give you an edge. Yamato. Incredible card. You play this, you draw 2 cards, and then you give 1 rested Dawn. So it's a genuine +1. Genuine +1. You have to have 3 or less life, and you get a Dawn. So this card is incredibly impactful. Again, usually in these formats, me personally, I'll take the first 2 hits because there's usually not like a ton of aggression. Sometimes you can get punished by a rusher later if your opponent just happens to high roll the rushers. But usually you can take the first 2 freely, then you can play this out, have a lot more resources, and kind of just go from there. But there are some instances where it may be worth it to kind of counter out early. But we have a ton of these events, so you can get out of bigger swings for a lot less. Then we, of course, have Little Oars Jr., Little Oars Jr., just a strong body, but he gets you to draw cards. So he establishes a threat and can continually generate value for you. So I think he's worth the slot if you're looking for one. This card is the best card. If I bowed down to power, what's the point in living? Unblockable. And it's a 3K counter. This card is literally what dreams are made of. And then, of course, Phoenix, Pyre Apple. You may rest one of your Dawn. Bottom deck a character with 3,000 or less, which can be relevant for like a baby blocker. Also, +3. Now, I've put the Whitebeard Pirates here just because, or the Roger Pirates. At one point when Purple Luffy came out, people were playing him. The ability to ramp can be incredibly powerful, and all of his cards ramp, and being able to accelerate your gameplay can give you quite the advantage. The only downfall is, of course, all these require a Dawn to be given. If you have extra space, it might be worth it, but instead of you play this on 4, you're going to 7, you can play Little Wars Jr. Draw and start drawing cards a whole turn sooner. Little less impactful later, but like if you play something like Inurashi and you're able to go up, it can really generate a lot for you. Crocus, again, they all kind of have decent effects, but our opponent's probably not gonna have anything with 3K. So, but it could ramp you. We got Odin. Blocker, so you'll play him no matter what, but if you play him on 6, you go 7, you go 9. And of course, Goldie Rogers card is actually incredibly powerful, so it's not going to negate your leader, or well, it does negate your leader, which will technically mean your leader counts as nothing, but you get to be a 7K leader. So this card is going to swing 13, but it also makes it a lot harder for your opponent to lethal you. And then it's going to negate all your other characters. But it's a 10-13. I think this plus I think it's worth it. But this will negate all of your effect. Your leader will count as nothing. And then, of course, it minuses your opponent's characters as well. So this card is great for if you're like in a position to lose. You just play this and you're probably not going to. Silver's Rayleigh, this is one of the best cards. It's going to ramp you and it's going to rush you. The ramp isn't actually mean that much, but the rush is so strong. You get to rest one of your opponent's characters, so you can get past the blocker and just hit them very hard. Nazjiro, I think he's a rusher. If you have 7 cards, plus he can be like a removal by minusing 2K, but the fact that he's a rusher, I think you have to play him because this could be like the game definer. You know, if they like they clear your board, this plus your leader, you can go double 7s. Could be what you need to get there. So I think just on that merit alone, it's worth mentioning. And of course, a Santa Pita. We've got a 2K. That's it. Warcury is actually one of the better cards, just because it gains a blocker. So this is a late game blocker. And then on KO, he's going to draw a card. So he replaces himself. So he eats an attack and he gives you a card. Incredibly powerful. First part of this effect, completely irrelevant, but it has the 3K. Has the 4K. Because your leader is Emu. Because your Luffy counts as everything. Your leader is Emu. Plus 4K. You're welcome. Atlas, 2K. Trigger is okay. And 2K. This card, very strong, because your leader will have Egghead type with this Luffy, and you gain Rush. And your opponent adds 1 card from the top of their life to their hand. So this card is incredibly intimidating. So keep that in mind. Just make sure you don't put yourself in a situation where you lose to this. So say they play this, you take your last life, and now they have a Rush, or they go 6-10. That's scary. Plus just forcing your opponent to take the life. And then trigger, if you have 1 or less life cards, rest up to 1 of your opponent's characters with 7 costs or less. So very strong trigger. 5/7, this card is incredible. Best card in the set. Blocker, and then you get Egghead, so you can play a card with 5 or less from your hand. This card can be incredibly powerful. Play out, it's got to have trigger. So you can play out like this body. You play out as Snake. So if you hit that combo again, like you could really go the Law into a 5, into Stussy into this, and you're just absolutely not going to lose. Pythagoras, he's a 2K. This is one of those conditional blockers. If you have a total of 2 given Dawn cards, this character gains blocker. So again, like that Whitebeard, you play him, he could turn this blocker live, but also just leaving 2 up, attaching yourself, this becomes a blocker. But again, conditional, don't fall for it. As Snake, this is really just a body, but it can be relevant. It gives you knowledge of your life, which is incredibly valuable, but it also gives your opponent a little bit of knowledge, but it kind of gives you a little bit of foresight, and I think that can really help drive an advantage. And then paper art after image, plus 3k, it's a 2 cost, and then if you have 2 life cards or less, your leader gains plus 1000 for a turn, so it'll be a 6. Now, all the secret rares are absolutely busted. This card costs 2 to play, and he has double attack. Again, double attack, very strong, but allows you to establish another threat, going wide. Incredible card. Any real hit besides the Unk, the 5 Unk, you're going to want to play. But yeah, this Ace gains rush if you have 3 or less, and he bounces a card back to hand, which, while not super desired in the current format, but incredibly powerful in a format where you're really only playing 1 character a turn, and you just negate their whole turn. So, rush aside, you could play this as removal on whatever your opponent just played. They can play a 4, though, but changing a 5 for a 4, there's 1 4/6 in this set, I believe. So you're probably trading a 7k for a 5k, which is 2 cards that you just saved yourself, kind of, or potentially like a life blocker. Sabo's a blocker. You're going to play it, and he can continually get a free Dawn, but he's a blocker. He's a 6/7. He's going to take a free attack, but he's probably going to be an attacker. You may turn one of your face-up light cards. So this is Gum Gum Dawn Stamp. It is a form of removal, and it gives you, again, a little bit of your life knowledge. Yeah, so like there's Gyo-Gyo, which is one of those 4/6 vanilla, incredible, great, and Sanji. 2k, 2k. And then some of the other cards, so this 2k, 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 other 2ks, 2ks. This card could be relevant. This trigger, your leader, the Rainbow Luffy, is Port Gastille, so you can go plus 3k, so do not forget that. San Charlos is a blocker. Mars is a blocker, plus he's removal, so this card's incredibly strong. Morgan's blocker, and we got Hiyori, blocker. Connie is not a blocker. But let's go ahead and take a look at everything else. So here are all of the blockers. So again, Connie isn't, but we've got Kobe. Trafalgar's a conditional blocker. Newgate, Marigold. This is unblockable. And we got Odin, Charlos, Warcurie, Mars, Morgan, Hiyori, Stussy, Vegapunk, Sabo. So very few of these are actually pullable, right? Like a lot of these are not commons. This one is a common, rare, super rare, uncommon, rare, uncommon, uncommon, rare, rare, common, rare, super rare, common. So not a lot of them in the pool, but a decent amount in the set. So just keep that in mind. Again, it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 potential blocker. And then for 2Ks, again, here are all of the 2Ks. So many. Rouge being one of the best just because of the trigger, but these are kind of like, a lot of them are those vanilla bodies, so very good for things like Sanji. And then a lot of times you're just not going to want to play these unless you don't have any other play. But Inazuma's pretty decent. And Rouge and possibly Buggy for the ramp. But yeah, and these are all the events. So this one's plus 3. This one is removal. So for 2, you can KO a 4, which could be relevant. But then again, plus 3, plus 3, plus 3, plus 3, plus 3. This one, you do have to trash a card, though. And can give it to your characters. Remember, all these are leaders, though. So this is something to keep in mind, too. If your opponent leaves Dawn up, you could potentially go after their board. And if they're not playing great, they can play this, and then they just burned it. And then you, of course, the Equilibrium +3 never existed, has to be your leader emu, and then Paper, Afterimage, of course, being able to be any characters, but all these are +3s. So the worst part is never existed exists, and so you could play around all the others and go 8s to command 2 cards if they leave Dawn up, and they play this in a similar Rayleigh format. But really what you're going to want to do is early game, you're going to want to establish your curves, you want to play bodies, and then in the mid game, you're either going to try to control your opponent's bodies, going like 7s into 5s, 8s into 6s to either command cards or do that. But again, be mindful, if they have Dawn up, there's a lot of these events, but remember, they can't protect their bodies. So you going 8 into a 6, incredible. It's going to cost them 2 cards no matter what. Unless that they have like the Afterimage or Divine Departure. But Divine Departure costs 2 cards in hand, so you still feel pretty good about it. But you want to do that. I typically will take the first 2 life, maybe even 3, but usually like once they start establishing 6s, I'm going to take those. I'm going to counter out of the 5. So I'll take those to kind of look for cards. If I have everything I need, I can kind of be a little bit greedier, keep my life. But again, I want cards to protect my bodies, because you can usually turn into, depending on how it turns out, into like a body slugfest. And I want my bodies to prevail. And then either have no cards, and then I can just attempt a mathematical lethal. Or, because if I have low cards, because I countered out of a couple life, I can't protect my bodies. So it really depends on what your deck consists of. But I usually like to take the first 2 in a similar way. But again, it all comes down to like regular fundamentals, micro decisions, making sure I have my curve. You want to hit your curve. You want to play control where it makes sense. Again, we don't want to give them, we want to swing that's the most inconvenient for them. So when they have Dawn up, that's usually going to be an 8. You can do 9 if you really want to. But again, there's a lot of 2Ks where not swinging 6. But these are kind of the things you want to do to win your pre-release. Let me know what you all think in the comments below. And be sure to subscribe if you found this content of value. And I'll see you all in the next one.